Good day. Hope we are well. This is Pastor X of Marriage Affairs. Trust everyone is keeping home safe and sound. Okay, so today I want to share a little bit and quickly on the effects of shouting and sulking in the relationship or in your marriage. So don't forget, you need to click, there's a button at the bottom here, a red one that says subscribe. Just click on that button and you will get notifications each time we have new material that we're posting. So basically, if we were to look at the two words or the two emotions, I'll put them as emotions. What I want to unpack here is the effect that they have on the relationship long term, because we tend to act and do things without thinking of the long-term effects that they would have on the relationship itself or on the marriage. And this is something that just dents the relationship little bit by little bit. Before you know it, you get to a point where you feel that there's no communication at all in the relationship. There's absolutely nothing that is left, and nothing happens overnight. Okay, marriages and communication in particular in a relationship doesn't die overnight. We murder it, okay, day by day. Every single thing that we do, everything that we do, in essence, it contributes either positively or negatively to what you are going to achieve at the end of the day, as far as your marriage and communication thereof is concerned. All right. Now, when we talk about shouting and sulking in a relationship, we need to acknowledge two things. Number one, sulking and shouting in a relationship is toxic. It's toxic. Number two, it's a form of bullying and emotional abuse. So it's not something that you can take lightly. It's not something that you can appreciate or condone. It's not something that you need to tolerate. It's one of those things, they happen in a relationship. You cut them immediately. You put your foot down, and it should not continue further. All right? So you cannot have a relationship where somebody is shouting at you. You cannot have a relationship where somebody just sulks. I'm going to explain them both quickly just now. Now, both of these, they show some underlying problems, firstly, on you as an individual who's doing them. But secondly, they show an underlying problem as far as your marriage is concerned. It means that the marriage has gotten to a point where it needs some serious relooking. It needs some serious revival in order for it to get back to where it's supposed to be. So there's a problem. And if it's an individual problem from the person who is doing these two things, it could simply mean that it's something from your childhood, or it's something that you adopted from your parents. You saw your parents doing that, shouting, screaming at each other, and you accepted it as the right way of doing things, as the right way of expressing yourself, okay? It shows a lot of underlying anger, okay, that is just hidden somewhere in you, because shouting and sulking, it's a form, whether passively or so, it's a form of aggression. When I'm shouting, I'm showing my aggression and anger, but when I'm sulking, passively, I'm showing my aggression. That is also a form of aggression. Okay, so now what does it do to the relationship and to your partner? We cannot shy away from the fact that these two do not only affect you as a couple, but they also affect the kids and your helper and whoever is around or exposed to this kind of unbecoming behavior. So some of the things that it does, number one, it paralyzes your partner and your kids. And like I said, everyone else who is around. Shouting only fuels up the situation. When you shout, especially if you find a partner who can stand their ground, it means they will also shout. And shouting versus shouting equals to more shouting, and more shouting will result into some aggression, even to some physical aggression or even verbal aggression, where you start saying things that you don't actually mean, or things that you wouldn't have liked or loved to utter. But it forces you to do that. So the situation doesn't get better by you screaming. In fact, the more you scream is the more you show ukuthi you lack an intellectual capability to address matters. People, they shout only because they feel ukuthi they can't express themselves anymore, and they resort to that aggression, which just shows ukuthi they are incapable of reasoning like human beings should. Okay, shouting also kills love and intimacy, affection and loyalty. There's no way I will see you the same. There's no way after you have shouted at me I can be able to have some kind of longing for intimacy with you. The minute you shout, obvious, that now pushes you away. It makes me feel, Oguti, I just don't want to be next to this person. Because your mind says, if this person is screaming at me like this, what is the next step? What is it that I can just do? One button that I can press that can just, make them to explode. And if they explode, what else? So that shouting and aggression is just one level before a person becomes physical with you. So it kills any intimacy, not just now, but even long term, because now you have instilled fear. The whole point of people shouting is so that they can be heard, and that instills a level of fear and intimidation to your partner. It's not easy to be emotionally open, emotionally available, emotionally vulnerable to somebody who just screams at you because you're scared of them, you fear them. And then sulking, for me, I always define it and say sulking is a childish way of handling of your emotions. It just says, you haven't grown, you're still a baby. If you cannot be able to say, listen, baby, or listen, so-and-so, I'm not happy with this and that and that. I don't like this and that and that. So, because people sulk just because it's a passive form of aggression, like I said. So, it means there's something that is not sitting well with you, and to express it, you sit there and then and assume that your partner will sniff and understand what is wrong. And in most cases, people would sulk and your partner doesn't even know, because you haven't even communicated with them what the problem is. So you're sitting there, only you knows what is wrong. And if your partner knows, why can't you just address it then? And just say, this is what is eating me. Your partner will be so confused on how to deal with you now, because I'm sitting here, I don't know what is eating Ukolani. But Ukolani is sitting there, and I can see Uti is not happy. And even the worst part, people that are immature in communication, and you still ask them. So you make an effort to understand and say, I can see you are not okay. What is wrong? And they answer. The answer that I hate the most, no, I'm fine. But you see, this person is not fine. Now, the least you can do, at least if you want to sulk. And when your partner is reaching out and asking what is wrong, tell them that is an opportunity. You have an opportunity now to address the issue. Say it. This is what is wrong. This is what is eating me. But you'll sit there and you make the person to be as confused as hell. Now, sulking also creates anger and bitterness, resentment, because now if you're sitting there, whether I know what is wrong or I don't know, and I'm thinking, you know what, I'm not going to go through this, By the time now you decide when to come back, I would prefer a person who will say to me, Polani, listen, I'm not okay. Can you give me a bit of time? I just need to recollect. I just need to get myself back, and then we can engage. Okay? Rather than somebody who will just sit there constipated or whatever. So what it does is, now while you are sitting there, you are brewing in me as your partner some bitterness, because I'm feeling I cannot engage or deal with this person. 1 minute they're like this, 1 minute they're like that, and resentment now starts. Okay, it builds up. The other thing, your partner gives up and on the relationship, because now you're sulking. So they start giving up on the relationship, and they let the relationship to go on autopilot, because I don't know how to handle you. I don't know what to do. And I know if I can push some more, chances are you might scream. Or if I don't push, you'll still even sulk more, that I'm not even asking you what is wrong. Listen, if you know something is eating you, bodla. Like, honestly, we are too old for these games, like, especially amadoda asalkayo. This one, I'll say it until kingdom come. I don't get a man who sulks. Okay, so what it happens is you're killing the relationship. You are murdering it. Slow poison to the relationship, because I'll start now detaching myself from you to avoid getting you and getting myself in a space where now I'm disappointed because when you chose to sulk. Now the question is, if something is eating you, the big question is, do you want the problem to be fixed or not? Because shouting and sulking doesn't really help. So question is, do you want the problem to be solved? And if you want the problem to be solved, number one, you need to focus on the purpose of being together. Why are you with this person? Why are you together? Okay, that has to always remain in your head. And then secondary to that, why are we having this conversation, or why do we need to have this conversation? Why there is a need for us to talk in order to address the issue. Okay, we address the issue because something is bothering me. We address the issue because there is a habit or a pattern that is unbecoming in this relationship. We need to address it. So you need to be clear on that, because if you are not clear on that, you will just start talking for the sake of talking, and you'll start hating each other. Number two, you need to learn to talk with love and compassion. You need to show some compassion towards your partner. You need to talk to them with love, with respect, the very same respect that you want. The question is, would you like it when your partner is sulking? If you genuinely love your partner, you wouldn't like it. Would you like it if your partner were to scream at you at every chance they get? If you really love them, you wouldn't like it. We only say, yes, I don't mind, or they can do whatever, they can express themselves. It's because you don't care. Because if you do care, when they do that, it's going to bother you. It should bother you. Okay? Number three, you need to stay constructive and positive and exalting in your communication. You need to communicate such a way that be constructive. Communicate, share, behave in a manner that you want tomorrow to be better than today. So you shouting, you sulking doesn't make today anything different from what you can achieve tomorrow and what you were yesterday. You're just making tomorrow even to be more bitter. You know, people not looking for, like, yo, just, I wish I could just sleep and not wake up. I wish I could just wake up when this woman or when this man, you know, just grows up and start taking responsibility of certain things and starting to open up. Okay, number four, you need to pay more attention to the positives. When you communicate, focus on the positive things that you can be able to talk about. All right, now here's the thing, there will be negatives. Instead of saying those negatives, say them in a constructive way. How this negative thing, the bad thing that your partner is doing, can be communicated in the same manner, but a manner that will make your partner to desire to change for themselves and to desire to change because they love you. So you need to pay more attention on the positives. Pay attention on the positive things. All right? The negative things, sometimes keep them to yourself and act them. What do I mean by that? I mean, if my partner is doing something bad or saying something bad, then I will keep it to myself instead of, retaliating with the same venom. What I will do is I will act the opposite of what they have done or what they have said to show them that this is how it's supposed to be done. Okay, because sometimes when you act up now, you shout, you sulk, it just shows now you don't even know how best to handle the things. You're just talking in frustration. So you need to keep the negatives sometimes and act them. If your partner doesn't wash the dishes, instead of saying you are lazy and all that, just invite them and say, baby, I want us to wash the dishes. Can you please come join me? They know that they were supposed to wash them. Sometimes you'll hear them saying, no, it's okay. I was going to wash them anyway. So what you have done is you've taken a situation that was negative, that could have been negative, that could have escalated even to other things. You started talking about the dishes, and then it started escalating. Before you know it, you're talking about your mother. You're talking about, even your sisters are like this. I'm like, If you trace it, you think, where did it start? Did it have to get to this point? Okay, you need to seek help when you realize, Uguti, you cannot just express yourself without being frustrated, without being screaming, without seek help as an individual first, and then you can seek help as a couple, because the problem could be you. Secondary to that, problem could be your relationship, that you guys are not aligned. You are not compatible when it comes to that communication, and as a result, your methods of communication are just not okay. All right? Now, in conclusion, sulking and shouting continues to poison the relationship. It doesn't make it better. It doesn't improve it in any way. It's a poison. So every time you sulk and every time you shout, you are dropping like something, a small drop into the relationship that is just eating the relationship away. It's like if I were to take an acid and drop just a drop of acid here and drop it every morning. Before we know it, I will have a hole here. Probably even my whole arm might start getting rotten and so forth. That's what we do to our relationships. That is me, Pastor X of Marriage Affairs. Remember, you can be able to subscribe here at the bottom, or you can subscribe to our WhatsApp podcast on 083331730. You can use the very same number also to book any appointments that you would like to book with us. You can book the sessions. We do them even online. So you don't necessarily have to be around Kempton Park or Lyndhurst where I am. You just need to have a phone with a camera, and we can be able to do the sessions. So anywhere in the world, you can be able to reach out. And also, I have 20 books that you can be able to get, and you can get one on communication. It's called Who's Speaking to My Partner. That can help you on the stuff that I'm talking about right now.